Hello everybody, this is Jay the Hunter, and today we have to unbox and set up is the new for 2024 Spirit Halloween Michael Myers. For those of you that have been following me for quite a while now, you know that I am a huge fan of Michael Myers, so naturally, when Spirit released this one, I had to jump on it right away as soon as it was in stock. So when you open the box, he has a little bit of a flap here that you do have to pull out. I'm gonna go ahead and pull that out now. I went ahead and slid this out off camera because it was kind of stuck in there. So right off the top, you have the jumpsuit that has the instructions and stuff in there with it. Let's see, what else do we have here? Over there, I presume, is his head. Here is his shoulders, which are pretty big, actually. Here is an arm. Another arm here. Here is his hand with the knife, which actually, his hands look pretty nice. There is a very obvious seam line there, which isn't too terrible. I do really like that the knife has a reflective material in it to make it look real. That is awesome. His other hand, those are hard plastic, and I presume is his head. Waist bracket, and it looks like shoes are in here. Let's go ahead and cut this open. See what all is actually in here. I think it is just the shoes in there. If I can get it to open. But yeah, it is. Oh, shoes and poles. Shoes, hard plastic. Do love that they're not that cheap material that they use on the clowns. And then those do appear to be zip tied in there. I couldn't pull them out, or I guess not. It just got caught on something. Oh, and he has knees, which is awesome. Give him a little bit more form. Oh, well, I guess I could have just pulled that out. Didn't even need to cut that open. And then over here is the stabbing motor, the body turning motor, the control boxes, base, and various other pieces. So let's go ahead and actually open up his head with you guys so we can see how this is. Go right here. Kind of difficult to do this with one hand. I am so sorry about this angle. Okay, so that opened up pretty easily. There is that. Let's see how his face looks. Oh, first, his adapter is down here, and his head just fell out. I'm not going to look at it just yet. But there's the adapter, and here is his head. It has some weight to it. I'm really... Oh, his head... Is he Servo? He is Servo. Whoa, okay. I didn't even notice that. So he is Servo. That is really cool. Okay, so looks like he has a vinyl mask covering. No, that is a latex mask. That is not bad, though. The mask will need to be repositioned, but I was not expecting it to be Servo. Nothing is advertised for that. So let's go ahead and get him all of his parts laid out. Make sure I have everything, make sure you have everything, and let's get to his setup. Here are all of the parts laid out of the box. You have the two arms that will be different. You will have one with a fork connector and one with a snap lock connector. His two hands, one stationary, one with a knife. The gargantuan waist form, 4 various poles. The control box that will be attached to part of the frame with the torso turning motor. His 2 hard plastic feet. His big shoulder frame. The bag with the clothing and the instructions. The base. The upper body structure that will have the arm stabbing motor. The servo head. And his adapter. Let's get to his setup. One thing I would like to mention before we get to his setup, none of the poles are labeled. So you will have to pay close attention to the photos and the instructions or to the poles I am showing you. In the front of the base, you can tell the front of the base because of the notch that is right at the corner. That is the front. You are going to connect your straight pole into the front corner of the base, slide on over the shoe, and then you're going to grab your other pole that has the slight bend in the back and slide your foot on over that. Now we are going to locate the pole with the knee, snap lock that here in the front so his knee has some form, and then grab this really strange squiggly pole and snap lock that into the back over here. Now we are going to grab his costume and slide that on over. Next, go ahead and locate your assembly that does have the torso turning motor and the control box, and snap lock that into the top of your current leg pull assembly. Then locate your hip ring and slide that on in, making sure to match the pins. Now we're going to go ahead and locate our main pull that it snap locks right here with the stabbing motor. After attaching your main body pull with the stabbing motor, go ahead and slide on over your shoulder frame, matching the two pins. One is larger than the other, so it will only fit one way. And then this would be a good time to go ahead and plug in the wire for the stabbing motor. Now we're going to go ahead and put on his head. For attaching Michael's head, you will have to turn him around, slide on in the servo motor pin into the slot and tighten in that screw to ensure that the head does get locked into place properly. Then you're going to go ahead and run this wire on down and plug that into the control box. Now we're going to locate the black cloth that does line the underside of him and throw that on over and Velcro it on. Next, let's go ahead and pull on up Michael's jumpsuit and start attaching his arms by feeding him through the sleeves and attaching them to the designated connectors in his shoulders. Next, let's go ahead and locate Michael's sensor and run that to the back of the control box, opening up his flap he has back here. Go ahead and plug that in right there, and we will access the rest of those controls later once we have his assembly finished. Next, go ahead and attach both of Michael's hands, and lastly, we're going to button up his jumpsuit. Now that we have Michael's assembly finished, let's go ahead and take a look at all of his controls and see how we are going to power him. I've already plugged in my included 6V 2A DC adapter. He also has a step pad or the off function. For a step pad, obviously you go ahead and plug in your step pad over here or your try me button. And then he also has an external speaker port, so you can make him even louder if you are not a fan of how he sounds with this current speaker. So I'm going to turn up his volume about halfway, maybe just a third of the way from all the way up. And we're going to Velcro this up. If it is too quiet, I will go ahead and turn it back up. So now I'm going to re-Velcro this part of his body form, and then we are going to Velcro back up this little butt flap he has and plug him in and watch him go. Here he is, all plugged up and ready to go. And now let's go in for a close-up of the movement of his head. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the new for 2024 Spirit Halloween Servo, emphasis on the Servo, Michael Myers. I'm sure you saw at the beginning when I took out his head, I was very, very shocked to see that servo mount in his head. Spirit did not advertise this at all to be servo. I don't know why they're not. The servo motion on him can be a really, really big selling point for him. The servo motion gives him so much life. It looks so nice, smooth, and realistic with his torso turning back and forth. It is programmed really, really nicely to look really real. His hands look great. They are painted nicely. They look like real hands. I love that his knife is not just a flat gray color. I love that it is actually shiny to kind of look like a real knife. You can even see the veins and some of the paint job of his hands there. His jumpsuit is really, really nice quality. I really, really loving how it is. And it is padded really, really nicely. There is a thick cloth I guess, kind of undershirt. It's not really undershirt, it's more just like cloth. His undershirt is on it, so I guess you could call it that. It is nice and stiff. It helps him hold his form when he is in motion. There is plush in his leg, so that way you can, it doesn't just look like a pole under there. He has a knee here, so you can see it is rounded, so it will look real. His arms are padded pretty nicely. The hair is great. His mask is a little bit on the side. It's not great. It's recognizable as Michael, but I will definitely be putting my own mask over him. And again, emphasis on the servo. I'm not gonna stop talking about it. The servos look really, really nice on him. I will say you might attach his head a little bit higher up than I guess what it's intended to be. It doesn't say to kind of hold it at a midway, but I did find that if you do slide it all the way down, the head does get caught on the shoulder frame and it does not move around as much. So definitely watch out for that if you do buy him and you are assembling him. And again, his frame is great. I don't see any mechanical failure with any of that. His audio is loud and clear. And let's talk about his audio now. I'm not a very big fan of the music choice. I mean, I know it's not the Halloween theme. There is a huge ongoing issue with licensing the Halloween theme on Michael Myers props for whatever reason. It sucks, but I would have personally much preferred a just heavy breathing with some just ambience in the background instead of kind of their own version of the Halloween theme. I'd prefer just ambience with his heavy breathing. But besides just the mask and the audio, I do think this guy is really, really awesome and worth the $280, especially with a 20% off coupon, because with that 20% off coupon, you can get yourself 55 bucks knocked off of him. Overall, I am really pleased with this animatronic. I will definitely be putting a different mask over him. I'm not sure what movie mask I'm going to put on him just yet, but we will see soon. I will definitely post a YouTube short of that whenever I get that situated. But overall, I am really pleased with this animatronic. If you have the opportunity to get him, I highly recommend him. If you're a horror fan, a Michael Myers collector, horror collector, he would look great with your horror collection. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, rate, comment, and subscribe.